एक्चुअली ना इधर स्विच नहीं है चल रहा तो आई कांट वॉच द टीवी.
रुके भाई, अभी लाइव जा चुके हैं. We'll talk about it later. I don't think we could have had a more hilarious start to this. Cold open की तरह start कर दिया. Anyways, guys, welcome to the mid-innings review of the second ODI between India and Australia. काफी धमाकेदार इनिंग्स एंड व्हाट आर द ऑड्स? तीनों में से मेरा प्रेडिक्शन सबसे क्लोज निकला. आई सेड 411 एंड स्काई अगर लास्ट में थोड़ा और स्ट्राइक मिलके थोड़े और कनेक्ट हो जाते तो उससे भी पार कर देते. 400 is the target for Australia. This is the highest score by India against Australia in an ODI. And yeah, I mean, this is as comprehensive an innings, a batting display that the Indian batters could have come up with. Iyer and Gill, both of them getting tons. Rahul and Sky getting quick fire half century, sorry. And Sky in particular, that 36 ball 72. Boy, man, that was blistering. वो 4 बॉल में जो 4 छक्के मारे, ओहो, एकदम धागा खोल दिया. Anyways, we've got Nikhil Popat, we've got Gurkirat Singh Gill. So without further ado, let's start. Nikhil, hi. शुरू कीजिए. क्या लगता है आपको? What did you like? What didn't you like? Points आपको मिले कि नहीं वो तो आपने बता दिया.
Yeah. Firstly, I think the biggest box tick for India is Shreyas getting a lot of runs, and a lot of runs that are very happy and pleasing on the eye with the intent both versus pace and spin. I do feel Australia were guilty of not getting their lines right, but it can happen to any side under pressure. More so when you are playing with a bowling attack as depleted as that as they have. But it's a choice that they have made. So very keen to see how India react to that, because I felt coming towards the end, they probably found it better in terms of variations karo, pitch mein dalo, because the ball stayed a bit in the wicket post the I think the 30 over mark. So from India's perspective, very harsh to say a few runs short, but it's just how the game has been. That again, we keep chasing the perfect innings. So probably a few short here and there, given where they were, but you will still take it. I don't think there is a reason to not take this score.
Yeah, fair. मतलब बताओ क्या जमाना आ गया. 400 का टारगेट भी लगता है कि यार थोड़ा ज्यादा हो सकता था. But yeah, no
Yeah.
doubts regarding Shreyas Iyer being the biggest plus, like his century being the biggest plus. Let's just have a look at his wagon wheel and what he did today. Oh man, like I mean, again, if you look at boundary score in terms of runs, you could see mainly how he accessed the leg side for all his fours and sixes. Mainly that is. Gurkirat, you can take us further in terms of what you liked about Iyer's innings with the wagon wheel, of course.
See, the best part about his innings was that he didn't really show any nerves. He started off very well and he wanted to impose himself on the bowlers. And this was something that we were talking in the preview, that very quickly the openers would have to assess how the pitch is and then start going for it. And I like that about both Gill and Shreyas. Talking about Shreyas's innings, yeah, he played to his strengths. I like the fact that, as when Australia wanted to slip a few overs out of match shot, he took the attack to them, and then like I said, he was busy at the crease. The only point about the Indian innings which you could say that it was not good to see was the slowdown for hundreds by both Gill and Shreyas. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a team game. You cannot be doing milestone oriented batting, and that is something that I'll point out for both Shreyas and Shubman. It didn't look nice, and I don't think that should happen. I mean, you don't want to score hundreds uh, while putting your hundred or your milestone ahead of the team scores.
Fair. I mean, since Paji has already mentioned that, let's have this graphic up. We can see how, if we divide India's innings into 10 over blocks, where the 21 to 30 over period was their slowest, where only 52 runs were scored, despite there being two set batters in the middle. And it's not like, Australia bowled really well in this phase. They were just fortunate that because both of them were, playing for the milestones, like Gurkirat said, they decided not to take the attack to the opposition. But Nikhil bhai, आपको क्या लगता है? Do you think some benefit of doubt can be given to Shreyas Iyer, given that he was practically playing for his spot? And as much as we don't like it, we also understand that selectors को यही अच्छा लगता है, seeing them score centuries, landmarks, milestones. These are the things selectors look for. These are the things fans look for. So how would you look at that? Like, are you going to be just as critical as Gurkirat, or you feel कि Shreyas Iyer के साथ maybe थोड़ा, again, no offense, मतलब पूछ रहे हैं भाई बस.
No, bilkul. I think we are all, of course, we have strong opinions because we feel strongly about, whatever and everything that we do. So I think there was a definite slowdown. It's not evident. And जो मैंने बोला कि few shot, that few shot is in that phase of play only. And the only bit there is, see, it is how game has moved on, that even after 399 you are saying that there is a chance. It's because that's how good the batting deck is, and you are also playing with only 5 bowlers, which is very less room for error. Now, even if you're playing with 6 bowlers, the only bit that I would say is you'll never be able to take out the human element from the game. Okay, eventually you are going to play that. Okay, let me get a few more runs. Let me get a few more runs. Something that KL Rahul said in one of the episodes that we saw in one of the popular shows, that if 400 is not enough, I'll get 500. If 500 is not enough, I'll get 600. So till the time the system keeps encouraging this, this will continue to happen. So you'll have to have a deeper look into this, that what are you looking at when you do a lot of selections and you want, okay, if you were looking at innings progression, I want the number of balls to go down and not go up. And it's not that the ball suddenly started swinging or spinning a lot more. It You just took the foot off the pedal. And again, this is not being overly critical. This is just seeing things as they are. So there is no malice or bias here. It is just about you missing out on an opportunity. And see, the point there also is, it gives the other side a way back in the game. And that's what exactly happened. You had Shreyas get out immediately after he got his turn. You got Gill getting out immediately after his turn. Now, the problem is, in the best case scenario, you will say that they get to the turn and then they get and they look for boundaries every ball. But what are the chances of it coming off for both? So you don't want to put everything in one basket, that okay, both of them will take care of the boundaries after this. But they both got out suddenly, and you saw there was a slight slowdown. Even Surya Kumar had to take his time before he found his range on the deck. So it's a very thin line, but you just have to, as Padi said rightly, first you have to assess the conditions and then figure out that okay, if I need a set batter to bat deep, the batter has to bat at a consistent strike rate, so that you're always ahead of the game and not chasing it after a point of time.
100%. And to be again, I completely agree with Nikhil Bhai. It's not like we're being overly critical, but unfortunately, such is the scenario today where just calling a spade itself is considered to be overly critical. But ठीक है. Anyways, in terms of the Iyer Gill partnership, all critique aside, it was still a fantastic partnership, a double century partnership, just the fourth double century partnership for India against Australia in ODI cricket, and also this is the highest partnership for India in India against Australia, again in the ODI format. And what's strange is to see Lakshman feature in two of India's highest ODI partnerships. भाई मतलब ऑस्ट्रेलिया देख के लक्ष्मण पता नहीं अंदर का क्या जाग उठता है कि कोई फॉर्मेट नहीं छोड़ा है. Yeah, Gurkirat, yeah.
Then the next one, which is the Canberra one, is something I don't want to look at. That ODI you don't want to look at after what happened in that partnership. That's
True.
that's one of the saddest collapse that has But India had already lost that series, so it became
100%, yeah. I mean,
but
better
yeah, that
memories.
was
And what,
collapse we
yeah,
can't
sorry to
forget.
cut Gurkirat there, but what we also can't look at is 60 people watching us right now and just 6 likes. Guys, please make sure you're hitting the like button. Please make sure you subscribe to our channel if you've not done that. And make sure you follow us, ask us your questions, ask us what do you think. And Nikhil and Gurkirat are more than happy to answer your questions. But yeah, before that, Australia, they've sort of gone bowling. I mean, they were light on their bowling attack. This was something we discussed even in the preview. And they have 9 batters. 9 batters where Sean Abid comes in at number 9. And again, he's no mug with the bat. Nikhil, Gurkirat, both of you have already told that, by no means is this match over. By no means has India batted Australia out of this game. So how do you think, what's the template for Australia? Should they follow what the Indians did, or how do you see them pacing their innings? Gurkirat, you can take this first.
Again, should just bat normally for the first 4 5 overs, assess how the pitch is, and then start taking their chances. Uh, Given it's going to be match short opening, from one end, it won't be the worst idea to bring on spinners, in the first power play because of his struggles against spin. And again, uh, it even if it doesn't work out for India, it's still something that they can try out, because both Kuldeep and Jadeja aren't known to bowl in the power play. So if they do well, there's an upside to it, that okay, we have discovered one other thing that these two guys can do. If they don't, then it's fine either, because you are just trying out things, and like we said, when we were previewing the first ODI, this is the only series probably in recent times, or all the series that are happening simultaneously, that the result doesn't matter as much as what you take out from the series. And so that is one thing that they can do. But I feel one what would really bother Australia today is how Cameron Green went for runs. I know this is not the pitch to judge a bowler on, but 99 runs in 10 overs, because they dropped Stoinis. Now their dilemma to who to play between Stoinis and Green, just becomes bigger and bigger, because Stoinis is not scoring runs. Last game he also went for runs with the ball, and today when they've chosen to back Green, Green has gone for runs again. So they want something to come from Green, or else that dilemma continues to grow bigger.
Fair. Since spinners की बात छेड़ी दी है, let's just take Sean Parik's comment here. He asks us if Ashwin gets 2 for 68 today, are you picking him ahead of Sundar? Nikhil, what do you think?
I think he's already been picked ahead of Sundar because there is no game time left for you to give to Sundar. So I think that ship is already sailed for Sundar. So uh, India will not mind if Ashwin gets 2 for 68 because the rate is 8, and if he's going at 6.8, you will be more than happy to take it.
Fair. Gurkira, do you have anything to add, or would you be happy with the 2 for 68 from Ashwin?
Yeah, whatever Nikhil said, I'm with it. That, I mean, he's already ahead of Sundar. The question should be,
Yeah,
if would you pick him ahead of Akshar? And both I and Nikhil were of the same opinion that two games can't decide that.
yeah,
So yeah, let's the best case scenario is for Akshar to get fit. If he
yeah.
doesn't, then yeah, we could really see Ashwin get back into the squad. And yeah, maybe Ashwin turns out to be spinner Shami. 2021 World T20, 2022 World T20, 2022 World T20. He was already in scheme of things, so wasn't really
True.
playing that much. But yeah,
Let us see, yeah. Let us see if he'll turn out to be spinner Shami, Indian spinner Shami, like Gurkirat said. But talking about bowlers, Sivarami Reddy, he asks us who would be the main bowler in the second innings. Gurkirat, you can go for this first. Who
both
are
the
you looking at?
both the frontline pacers, you'd assume, because you'd want Shami to extract whatever little movement is there up front and try and get wickets, and you'd expect Prasidh to use his pace and generate that extra bounce. The flip side of that is that on this venue, if you have a little bit of extra pace, even top edges can go for sixes. You could beat the batter, with pace and with bounce, but the margins are just infinitely small. So as a bowler, you really need luck on this venue. You could do all things right, but you could still end up with figures of 75 and 80 for nothing, and it won't tell you much about how you bowled.
Fair. I mean, to be honest, even before the match began, I could actually sort of see Prasidh Krishna being taken to the cleaners by match shot. He's someone who eats length balls for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. If you followed him in the BBL, he just loves going back and pulling them, hoiking them, hooking them, doing all of those shots, accessing the leg side at ease, and this is perfect for him. Shorter boundaries, even those stoppages, like Gurkirat said, he doesn't have to time it. He already has the brute power, and he doesn't even need that today. All he has to do is ensure he plays his shots. He'll definitely get value for money there. So, Nikhil, do you see Short probably having a good knockout there?
Yeah, he could. Again, the conditions are such that you're going to hope for a few early mistakes from the batters before they get set, because that's how the conditions are. Let's be very honest. And if Shami is able to hit the lengths very early, then he will trouble short. Because as much as short may like the pull and hook, but if Shami gets the line out like he did to Marsh early, that thing can take care of match shot as well. So as Padi said, I'm also interested to see if they get on Jadeja earlier than usual, because you want to see how they go. And of course, you have a guy who a lot of people think that relies on luck to take wickets. So very keen to see if he ends up with, I don't know, 4 for 70 or 4 for 80 today. Let's see.
I have a very funny feeling that we will have contrasting figures for Shami and Shardul today. I just have a very
Who
funny
knows?
feeling, because it will make for great content post game. I have nothing against both of them, and I
Of course.
like I said, for most tactical decisions, that two games cannot really decide what happens in the larger scheme of things. But it's just funny. It would be extremely funny if Shardul picks a 3 for and a 4 for, and Shami goes for runs. Both of them, both those figures will not be a direct reflection of
Reflection of how they
the
go.
quality of both the bowlers, but reactions, and the
Yeah, but
extremities in reactions are just very funny to read so
I
many
mean,
times.
that's the beauty about Indian cricket fandom, right? One day left तो दूसरे दिन right, one day black है तो दूसरे दिन white, कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता अपने को.
ये
But
अच्छी
I
लाइन है
mean,
ये तो,
thank you.
ये
मेरे लिए
कहीं
मुझे
से
भी वही
कहीं
लगा लाइन अच्छी है
कहीं से
शायद.
उठाई है.
नहीं भाई खुद की है. Anyways, let's just take a few comments here. Aritram Dhar, okay, this seems like a new name. Hey Aritram, just make sure you hit the like button. You've also subscribed to us. And yeah, he says 158 and 20 overs, 210 and 30. Do you reckon the Indian batters, are 30 to 40 runs short? Ooh, मतलब क्या 450 expect कर रहे थे क्या?
30
सही है
40,
भाई मतलब.
30 40 would be too harsh. At max you could say maybe, you wouldn't even say it is short. Probably the last 20 overs made up for it, but you would say yeah, they could have gotten 15 20 more. That
Fair.
is something that you can't deny, that there was an opportunity for it, and that opportunity wasn't taken, because you have to remind yourself that India had batting till number 9 today.
That's true. That's true. And निखिल भाई आपसे ये क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछूंगा आपसे दूसरा क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा just carrying on from what we were discussing. Why can't Jadeja bat at all? Asks Deepak Madhuru. And yeah, I mean, Nikhil bhai probably said the exact same words off air. So what do you have to say about that?
See, I think it's again. I had a very good conversation on X, that's Twitter, and not anything else, about where they want to play Jadeja, and if there was, and was there a chance to push him higher on the order. The problem with that is he's somebody who takes his time to start off innings, and that is something that you cannot afford on a deck like that. And that's where I also feel it tells you a lot about if on this kind of deck also it's taking a bit of time for him to get going, you still have to give him more batting time and probably have a more clearer idea. I think that is something that we've always discussed with Jadeja, that sometimes you feel very intrigued by the kind of player that he is, because uh, you're never doubting his defense about being able to hold an end or being able to build a partnership. But when it comes to scoring quick runs, it hasn't always worked out for him, because you feel sometimes the plan isn't as concrete as you would expect it to be. So very keen to see how when they use him going forward as well, because now that Shreyas is scoring runs, there isn't any need to get Kishan and Eagle. So Kishan can wait for his chance next. But it just makes you think that okay, I don't think there is a chance to promote now Jadeja. But if and when it happens, very keen to see at what pace Jadeja bats, because it is going to be crucial for India going deeper into the World Cup.
Fair, fair. Meanwhile, Akhil Nair wants to know more about Sky's innings. He asked his thoughts on Sky's innings. He tapered off at the end with Australian bowlers taking pace off the ball with slower bouncers. Felt he over relied on square boundaries in the end and couldn't connect. Paji, what do you think? Is that a fair assessment?
See, he couldn't connect a few, but again he was going for those shots that have worked out for him, and he was taking his own percentage options. It didn't work out, yes, but square boundaries are short. Point and third man were in the circle, so it made sense to go for these shots. I think here you have to give credit to the Aussie bowlers, that they realize, okay, this is working, so we might as well keep doing that, because offering pace on such a ground is anyway not a good idea. And the only time there was something that allowed bowlers to come into the pitch and play was when you could just bang it into the pitch. And this also happened post the 30th over mark, because by then the balls had become 15 overs old each. So yeah, I think here you have to give credit to Aussie bowlers more, rather than say that Surya did not look at other options, because when the deliveries were there for him to hit it in the V, he did that. uh, he did play the flick, he did play the inside out over extra cover. So yeah, I mean, on those lengths that he tried to go over point or go over third man, it's sort of impossible to try and target long on or long off on those lengths. You can still do the other, if if it's fuller, you can still move around, but without any pace being offered, it's nearly very difficult to do that.
True,
Yeah,
and even
and
some of
actually,
those Yorkers.
and
Yeah,
and
Nikhil.
the bit here is I'm very keen to see if this is something that flies around to other teams. That okay, this is the place to now bowl to Surya, not give him pace, make him look for only particular areas to hit. So I know it's a bit of saying that you are probably using his strengths against him, But I'm very keen to see if teams look to try it out depending on conditions and various grounds. That okay, we have this kind of uh, uh, field to work with. So do we bowl wide outside off? Do not give him pace, and then let's see where he gets the pace to hit those boundaries from. So that is something that I'm keen to see if other teams try it.
It's it's something that Mohit Sharma tried to do in the IPL,
Yes. Yep.
and
Yep.
he got a lot of plays and misses, but to
Yeah.
his misfortune, it happened again on a short ground in
Yeah.
Wankhede.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
whenever he got a decent connection, he was able to find the boundary. This
Correct.
plan can actually work on grounds
Larger
where the
field.
square boundary is big. This could
Yeah.
actually work in a ground like Ahmedabad. This could
Yeah.
actually work on a which other ground? This could actually work in
Chepauk
Lucknow,
maybe.
Chepok, where
No.
especially if pitches are also slower towards the
Yeah.
latter half of the tournament.
Fair, fair.
Yeah.
Since
Yeah.
we're already on the topic of Sky, Introspect, one of our regular viewers, he says Sky gets 70 plus, and armchair critics on Twitter have quickly forgotten Iyer's knock and his role at number 4.
मैंने को ये देखे ऐसे आज. I don't know. Maybe if Nikhil saw them. But like
Oh,
the
maybe.
sentiment that I got from Twitter was that people were happy about Iyer getting runs. Some said like how Nikhil was also talking about that because he was coming back, and there was a factor of some question marks on his place, which I don't think should have ever been there. But we have had some of our in-house guys also have those question marks.
Shots
So
fired.
so
Bhai,
can't really hold it against people for having those question marks, and then you can allow for uh, that bit
I'm
of
sorry, just क्लियर शॉट्स
selfishness.
किस पे फायर्ड है भाई? हम तो थे.
उन्हीं के स्टेट में आज मैच हो रहा है, वो खुद आ जाए
अच्छा,
सामने तो अच्छा है.
ठीक है, चलो, moving on, moving
बहुत
out.
बात. I you know probably I could get a text later on, you have extra shifts during the World Cup.
The battle. The battle is now more outdoor from indoor.
True, that's true. Nicely done. But यार ट्विटर का ये सब डिबेट देखे, वो मिस्टर इंडिया का गाना है ना, जिंदगी की यही रीत है, ये बस वही है. This is how Twitter works. This is how social media works. फायदा नहीं है.
Yeah.
So let us talk about actual cricket away from social media. Deepak Maduro again asks us. I mean, not asks us, but makes an interesting statement. He says, "So Jadeja is a pure bowler who can bat but can't hit sixes straight away. So those type of players can't be trusted as an all-rounder, right?" निखिल भाई क्या लगता है?
No, I think it's very hard to say that you can't count them as all rounders because you don't have just one role in the game, and you don't have 11 players or 6 players doing the same kind of batting or having the same kind of skills. So if you are hopefully never again 5 for 3, Jadeja is the guy to send there and ask him to build a partnership. That is where you will probably see a lot more value from him, which is what we've seen him do in Test cricket. Where if your team is 120 for 5 or 200 for 6, he's the guy to get you to 260, 270 by being there at the crease, making a good partnership. So you have all these all-rounders. You can even look at many teams. They all have their strengths, but they have to be used at the right part. Like we talk a lot about Akshar Patel and how we feel if the pitches are slow, you can promote Akshar Patel to as high as number 4 because that is something that is not unnatural to him to combat spin in the middle overs. Or if it's a deck where there is a good enough pace and bounce, you cannot feel it will be a risk to promote Jadeja because he'll still be able to find a way there. So, which is why you also see the team holding him back today because they know the kind of guy and they know the skill sets he brings to the table. So, uh, see, it's a very I don't know subjective thing to say, but if a guy is able to score 10 from 2, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have the skills, but he also needs some luck to get those 10 from 2. So just trying to get it in a way when you have nothing else to do, sometimes it just frees you up and then you are able to just not think second out yourself, which at times may not be the case with your mindset. So it's a lot harsh to not call him an all-rounder, but use people as per their strengths and at the right places, they'll do better.
I
Also,
mean,
there are no perfect all-rounders. You
Yeah,
will
yeah,
not
yeah.
find all-rounders who will average 35 to 40 with the bat and less than 30 or around 25 with the ball. So
कार्लोस
any
रो रहा है भाई
all-rounder,
साउथ अफ्रीका में ऐसा बोलने के बाद. बस बोलना था.
I
Which
mean,
is why there is only one name that you could take. You do not go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's
and
just tell
उसमें
you.
भी उसमें भी there's
हाँ,
an argument that the number of overs that he used to bowl in test matches, right? That was also a factor. So that's what I'm saying. all-rounders will also have a preferred discipline. It would either be batting, it would either be bowling. It will never be that they will be equally good or equal. And I mean, current day, you could probably say maybe Shakib comes close, but it's very difficult to have those players ki, you get an average of 40 with the bat and 25, and वो भी अगर आपको मिलता है तो it's sometimes conditions applied. So yeah, you have to take what you get. If like I've said this before, that it's not that, like, I'm not happy with what Jadeja is contributing with the bat, but there is no ready replacement that you could say, okay, this guy will come in and do better than him. Like, if someone does better than him with the bat, then there is no guarantee that person will be able to do better than him with the ball. And like we have seen with Akshar Patel. So yeah, it's a very, I don't think it's a problem that can be solved right now. You just have to hope he does the best to his abilities, and just, yeah, just
True. I
has his.
mean, yeah, you can probably take Hasranga's LPL performance with a pinch of salt. But moving on, we've spoken about Iyer's century so much that we completely forgot there was also another centurion in the same innings. Shubman Gill के बारे में भी थोड़ा बात करते हैं. He shares his surname after all with Gurkirat Paji. इतना तो बनता है भाई. इतना तो बनता है. So Shubman Gill, again, fantastic knock, no doubts. But a lot of people, especially on social media and otherwise, were criticizing him more than Iyer because just like Sanjay Bharti here, again, like we said before, Iyer was the benefit of doubt to Iyer could be given because he was playing for a spot. You can't really say the same for Gill. Gill has been informed. He was expected to, take charge there, especially when Iyer had slowed down. But as it turns out, he also mimicked what Iyer was doing at the other end. Nikhil bhai, what do you make? First, we can talk about Gill's knock, which was fantastic. Make no mistake. But uske baad, you can also probably briefly talk about how he also slowed down in the middle overs.
Yeah, I think it's a very good learning curve for. That's a good first shot from short to get off the mark with the boundary. But just coming back to Gill, see, he was, I think, 9 of 19 when he started. He was happy to bide his time, but then he suddenly was 23 of 22, if I'm not wrong. So he's always been somebody who, when he gets in, is looking to get a lot of boundaries, which you can also see from the waggle wheel on your screen. There is access most parts of the ground, and there isn't anything that you feel that he cannot do to both pace and spin. And again, sometimes you set the standards and the bar high for yourself. So he's got over 1,200 runs in this very year in this format. So you are in great form, you are in good touch, and hence the expectations are of you that if you've gotten to a position where you are batting at a very good strike rate, it's expected that you will do it. You will take on the tougher job for the team, that I will keep going, and then it allows the others to also get in and then bat at the right pace. So again, I'm not going to take the runs for granted that we get from Shubman, but it's just how the nature of the game is, that if you have somebody who's in at their peak in a format, you just expect them to be able to do the tougher jobs better. So I think it's a good learning curve for him. That and see, the thing here is, it may not cost them today or in the next game, but it is something that I'm sure they will take notice of. That okay, it could be heat, it could be cramps, it could be anything, we don't know yet. So but it is something that the team will recognize. It is something to sort, because Gill has everything in the book. It's not that he can't take on spin, it's not that he can't take on pace, and he has options against both across the field. So again, hats off to him to be able to be that consistent. But sorry, you make your own. It's like comparing with Virat, that मेरे 40s भी कम लग रहे. But I mean, you are that good, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं? Sorry.
Fair, fair. I mean, the kind of form he's got close to 1,400 runs this year, just 500 runs
Yeah.
away from breaking Sachin Tendulkar's 98 record,
Don't say,
most runs scored in a calendar year.
ये नहीं नहीं बोलना था. नहीं बोलना
Yo,
था.
jinx. Ho gaya. But he still has 12 ODIs, 12 more ODIs, one more in the series,
Yeah.
9 in the World Cup, plus a couple if they reach the playoffs, I mean the knockout stage, and then 3
Yeah.
ODIs against South Africa. So a lot of games.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. So let's hope that happens. But yeah, I mean, the game's already begun. So let's wrap this up quickly in terms of the second innings. What are you guys looking out for in terms of Indian bowling? And because we're only playing with 5 bowlers, something we spoke about up top, how do you see this panning out? Gurkirat, you can go first.
I think India will wrap up the series today. I'd like Shami and Prasid to have a good outing. Uh, maybe something for Ashwin. I don't know. Let's see, because this is not an easy pitch for spinners. And last year, I think when India played South Africa here, uh, Ashwin was able to do a decent enough role as a defensive spinner, but got taken for runs in that fourth over. Let's see what happens today. But yeah, I still expect India to wrap up the series today. 400 runs are a lot. They, they,
All
they,
right.
they have been chased once, but it's not easy, even with five bowlers and on this ground.
I mean, Gurkirat's made it clear, where his allegiances lie. Nikhil bhai, what do you think? कौन जीत रहा है? क्या लगता है? How do you see this panning out? Close encounter maybe?
India will want a good run because it will test, and I think it will test them any which ways because of the kind of bowling attack that they have. You see, in this bowling attack, you have Shami, Prasidh, Shardul, Jadeja, and Ashwin. You can combine a couple of them and say they are better defensive, and two may be able to have their mercurial spells on that day. So very keen to see how they are used, and it is very crucial for India to have Jadeja do well on such surfaces because I've been harping about the pace at which he's been bowling. Very keen to see how he goes today because you need more. We talked in the preview as well. You need support for Shardul and Kuldeep in the middle overs with wickets from others. So expecting Australia to give a good fight because they bat a long way down the order. But as Padi said, 400 बहुत है. They probably still have 20 runs above par. We wanted them to score 20 more, just so that you can say that okay, you have outbatted. It will take something special to win. So that is the point that we were getting at when we called in a few shots. So hopefully India take the series, and then in a dead rubber we can play the World Cup team. Just how the stars align.
Fair. I mean, not that anyone asked. I see Short, getting a big daddy 100, 170, 180, and probably,
Out to
winning
Prasidh
the game.
Krishna. Matthew shot. Out to Prasidh Krishna. Good catch at third man.
बोलने का मौका भी नहीं दिया.
Akshay,
I
Anyways,
Akshay is
sorry,
clearly,
sorry.
yeah.
I have to get this. I cut short your talk about short.
क्लिप करके भेज देंगे.
Akshay is clearly not happy. Tears are coming out.
Definitely. दुख के आंसू ऐसे मतलब निकल के आ रहे हैं. Anyways, yeah, let's wrap this up. Already एक wicket जा चुका है. Let's not again, like before, let's not make this into a watch along. Yeah, we'll see you guys in hopefully not more than 3 hours. And yeah, let's hope for India's sake and for all of you guys out there that India wins, wrap the series up here. And like Nikhil said, if it's a dead rubber, then all the more the chance that India plays a full strength setup because now they don't have to worry about anything in terms of results. But yeah, that's it from all of us right now. Make sure you've hit the like button. Make sure you've subscribed to us. See you guys around 10 to 10:30 based on whenever the match ends. Until then, it's a goodbye from all of us. See you.
Yes.